Hey guys, it's Poverty, and this is Star Citizen. Load time was a little longer than normal, but it seems to be running smoother. I'm not too it looks like they have updated this, but I didn't actually see a patching update, so either way. Oh, I know where I'm at. Okay, yeah, started off different location. The thing I wanted to talk about this time was my name. Poverty's a bitch. And it is, I've spent so much time being poor, about 12 years, making, well, 12 to 14,000 a year. And that's, if you figure it, if you had a full-time minimum wage job, you'd be making a lot more than that, or a bit more than that. 725, that'd be 14 and a half, 15,000. So and it was just because I was hanging on to my hopes of landing a decent job and applying my skills as opposed to just unskilled labor. But once I did get that decent job, I could actually look up. As in, I had a history teacher. I asked, how would you define people who are a peasant? And he gave me this wonderful little phrase. A peasant is someone who doesn't look up because they don't want to see what they're missing. And I realized that when I was making my 12 to 14 grand a year, you yank out the taxes and it's about 9 to 9,500 take home, which is less than $1,000 a month. And it was frustrating. Dollar Burger was a luxury to me. I'm not kidding. Fries, that was out of my budget. Guaranteed out of my budget. For the first few years, I survived on $10 a week for food. And that's literally saving up for 2 weeks to get like a bag of discount chicken because it was cheaper per pound. Buy a 50-pound bag of flour, of rice, of sugar, and then you just make what you can with that. You buy up, of course, the ramen, and when eggs get cheap, you buy it by bulk. 5 dozen eggs is a lot cheaper. And I never went to the movies, never bought a CD, never gone out to a club, never went to a bar, never had a drink, because that was I didn't even have soda. It was water every time. So my dollar burger washed down with a free cup of water. It's just the way it was. And it's hard to explain if you've never been in it. It's like everything else. So I may be wasting my time. I may be just talking, to deaf ears. But even though I've made it out so far, I'm making good money now. The best money I've ever made. And I can afford luxuries now, to go out to eat for every meal. I can drink whenever I want to. But in fact, I'm still living like a peasant. No cell phone, no TV, no cable TV. I don't go out to clubs. I got my Wednesday thing for a bar. I go out and get like a discount burger, but I still end up paying, 10 to 12 bucks. But that's kind of my luxury in addition to everything else. But what I want to talk about is exactly that, poverty. And a lot of people, it's just a catchphrase. It's a thing, It's the children on the back of the milk. It's something politicians talk about. But it turns out that people who are poor, the stigma is that these poor people, they're poor because they're not willing to work. No. To survive, you have to work twice as hard for half the pay. And within the poor neighborhood, there's traps. There's, ways to sucker people in. Make sure that you don't look poor by having a cell phone, the latest sneakers, and all that stuff. But I'm like, a pair of sneakers was, that's 2 months of food for me. $80. And that's not the expensive stuff. You know, you drop 150, 250 for a pair of sneakers. Just could not afford it. So there's times I literally like worked until the shoes fell off of me. I really had to stick to military shops, discount stuff to get military boots, and hopefully no one noticed that I was wearing them because, well, those were kind of expensive too, but still, they would last a hell of a lot longer than these discount stores. So poor people work a hell of a lot harder than people that make good money because, you need something, you buy it. Hey, car repair, no problem. Here's $500. Fix it. Call me when it's done. But for me, car repair, that was, I had to budget. That was $200 a month. And I may go 4 months without a repair. But when I did, 4 months later, it turned out to be $800 repair anyways. So the problem is, people's like, oh, these poor people, they don't have the resources. No, they've got the resources. They just don't have access to it. What's it like to not have a decent credit line? No one's willing to sell you a car, and if it is, it's a junker that you need to drop more money into it to repair it. I lucked out. Family hand-me-down vehicle, which I spent most of my money repairing because it was like $200 a month on repair. So you crunch those numbers, and you're looking at $2,400 a year just to have a car. Take that out of $9,000, you can figure how much pain that was. But I needed it. I needed it for the work. If I didn't have it, I didn't have the access. And I landed a decent job as an office manager, making $12 an hour. And one of the first things I did was bought myself a used car. A decent used car, 40,000 miles on it. I'm looking out these windows hoping that something exciting will happen. I'm going to move on. But, so like the ability to have access to one of these cheap cars that ran great wasn't in my neighborhood. I literally had to drive 32 miles to a different dealership to buy this used car. And then I had to finagle. I had to get my father as a signee. And he was well off, so, that was no doubt there. But still, I had to call in debts. People owed me money because, it's like I know how hard it is to, be up a creek. So, if I can spare $50 to loan to someone, great, I'll do it. Setting money aside for repairs, I had some cash to loan, but only temporary. A month or two, but when it came time for that repair, I needed to call, immediately, and people didn't have it. So I rarely loaned money. So I had my little network of those I could loan to. And sorry for the sniffling and coughing, I'm still sick. It turned out that, I pulled in all my, the debts that people owed me, and it was my down payment, and the used car, was $150 a month, and I did not need to repair it for years. So the resources there, the problem is access. So I lucked out. I had a father that was, the fucker was well off, but he didn't share his money. And so he was a signee. I made my payments. I paid my car insurance. Car insurance went up a bit. But as soon as I paid off my car, the insurance, I made sure I slashed that. So I went back to basic liability, which freed up so much money. I didn't hang on to that $12 an hour job. I went back to $9 an hour, which was rough. But that's, what's up? I think I did it right. Oop. This guy. God, this guy's just Wazzy. What's up, Wazzy? Alright, so again, the resources were there, but I lucked out with the access. And once I had a stable car, I had all this extra money, and I got myself a decent, leather jacket, something that would be, decent in an office. $350 leather jacket. I still have it. It's been, man, only 15 years. So I've been in good standing for the last 3 years or so. But it's tattered. The buttons have fallen off. I still, act like I'm poor. So I still haven't fixed the buttons. The edges are fraying. The cloth is tearing, but it's 15-year-old jacket. But anyways, and I keep thinking about that. I'm just like, no wife, no children, because I couldn't afford it. It's a trap. I never had to go to a title loan because I was willing to eat chicken and rice for weeks on end. Literally, $10 a month. $10 a week. Literally. So like going out for just a cheap pizza, $8.99, nine or $10 with tax, couldn't afford it. That was an entire week of food. And I would rather spend that on 99 cents a pound for chicken and just buy 10 pounds of chicken and sort it out and keep it in the freezer and only pull out 1 or 2 thighs a day, and that would be my meat source. The rest is rice, noodles, ramen. It was rough, but I didn't give in. I did not go to the clubs. I didn't, I felt miserable. And all I could do is play free games. I mean, I had to have something for entertainment, and it's always been internet. $35 for the entertainment for the entire month. Of course, that price keeps going up and up and up. I've pondered what I'd do without internet, but over the last 3 years, I've lucked out, and I'm doing well, and I've purchased a house, and at any time I can refinance if shit hits the fan, which is more than what most people can do. Most people just pay what they have to. All my spare cash goes to the house. My car finally broke down, and I decided to follow the same route and just not spend repair after repair to keep the poor girl going. I just got a new one, so it's $200 a month now. But still, I'm throwing all my money at the car, at the house, and as soon as I can get out from under these debts, I will feel wealthy. But for now, it's just, I don't know. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about poverty, how to get out of it, and I just feel like I'm wasting my time. Because people are like, no, I can't live without my cell phone. No, I can't live without having DVDs and movies. I can't live without, hell, I don't even have Netflix. Yeah, that's $8 a month, $10 a month? Sure. But then you add it onto your internet package, so, how much are you really spending? And, these people's they have to have their iPod, they have to have their music, they have to have, show off by, getting a fancy meal every day. You don't have to. And then they have to, the urge for them to have children. Yeah, that's the word. They don't plan to have children, it happens. And then they're financially screwed for 18 to 20 years, and they cannot, save up money for a class or two of college. They cannot, continue living that lifestyle. So they take it out on their wife or ex-wife, and they take it out on their kids, or they just run off and hide. Hey, what's this? Try to dodge it so they can actually live a life. And it seems like society is going in the direction of just suffering, causing people to be in debt. Our forefathers worked very, very hard against having a debtor's prison. But it seems like with the inability to get away from your student loan, you're in a debtor's prison. People are paying for 5 or 6 years on a student loan as best as they can, and it turns out that over the last 5 years, it's grown by another $10,000. And they just can't get out from under it because they were sold a lie. Again, another trap for poor people. Education is not that freedom anymore. You can't just take out a student loan, get a class, and then be paid better, because the opportunities are not there. You need to be able to do the task you're wanting to learn about before you get the education. And it sucks. It really does. And you have to stay out from underneath it. Like when my car got paid off, I took out the equivalent price of that car in 1 year of college. And it was rough. It was very rough. Because I could, if my car broke down while I was paying for that, I would have been screwed. Absolutely screwed. And again, I lucked out. Paid off my student loan, and the car never needed any serious repairs. So, I consider myself lucky, very, very lucky. Although I've been constantly striving and just not being materialistic, not looking up. I'm an American peasant because I refuse to look up. I don't want to see what I'm missing. Another Avengers movie come and go. Too bad. Just too bad. There's movies I've been wanting to see, and they're probably 10 years old now. Still haven't seen them. I'm just not going to spend that kind of money until I get out or to be financially set. But in the meantime, I want to be happy. So games are it for me. So I try to find free games, and this game is not free. It'll be free to play, but I've dropped a pretty penny to get the ships. But, if you guys have listened this long, thank you. Poverty is not a simple topic. It's not something you can just say, hey, do this, and this, and you won't be poor anymore. But really, that's the reason I chose this name. Just to keep reminding people that poverty's a bitch. And you have to give up so much. It's ridiculous. And there's so many traps to make sure people stay poor. And, I'll tell people, and they just won't listen. They'll smile, nod, and then they'll do an overdraft on their debit card just because they want to buy a frappe at Starbucks, and then complain about the $35 bank fee for their $4 cup of coffee, and complain that the system's against them. It's like, no, you're against yourself. The system's messed up, but it takes two to tango. And a lot of people are like, I can't live without my Starbucks. Well, then I don't want to hear the $35 overdraft fee or the allowing you to get that, but they'll bill you $35 for customer protection? Bullshit. It's a lie. There's no protection. They're just going to rape you financially. Don't have enough money? We'll charge you more. It's sickening. And I absolutely wish there was a way I could wake people up and say, don't do it. I know you want instant gratification. You want to be happy now. Don't do it. I no one listens because everyone wants instant gratification, and it's sad. It's pathetic. Because a lot of people are like, well, I may not survive till, I may be shot and killed tomorrow. Like, yeah. But if you keep having that attitude, you'll stay in the situation forever. It took me 12, 13, lost track. I'd say about 13 years to get out of it. 13 hard, miserable years of playing on, dead systems. As in, what can I play that my system can run that's free? So that's what I've done. And it's miserable. It's painful. Yeah, I'd love to have an all-up system to handle PvP. But it's not going to happen if I want to get out of poverty. You just have to give up on all sorts of different things. You don't look up. That's the trick. You don't look at what you're missing, and if people are rubbing in that they bought $250 sneakers and how their sneakers are better, get rid of them. You don't need those kind of people around you. If you've got friends that are just bad off, can't afford rent, but they keep bringing home pizza every night, then you need to get rid of them. And it's the whole thing. It's not easy. It's pure suffering. And poor people work hard. They work damn hard. And they choose, in my opinion, a lot of them choose poorly because they want something, that they should not. They too horny, so they want to fuck someone. Well, bam, the person gives them a kid. Now they're pretty well fucked for 20, 25 years. So how is that one night of joy? Was it worth it? No, it's not. Children are not worth it anymore because society is against families. And that's another topic completely. But anyways, poverty's a bitch. It really is. And I want to help people, but all I can do is give them information. Because if you give them money, they'll come back asking for more, and it's not what they need. You need to show them how to download free spreadsheets. You need to teach them how to balance their budget, even if it's painful. You have to show people that you're going to have to give up many years of happiness in order to get out of it. And for every year of misery, there's going to be many more of happiness when you get out of it, but not until. So it's poverty's a bitch. Anyways, enough of my rambling. If you've listened this long, thank you, and I'll catch you guys later.